हेलो एंड वेलकम टू दिस एक्सक्लूसिव कॉन्वर्सेशन जहां हम बात करेंगे एक ऐसी इंडस्ट्री बॉडी की जिसने म्यूचुअल फंड सही है जैसे इम्पैक्टफुल स्लोगन को घर घर तक पहुंचाया। जी हाँ, हम बात करेंगे एमफी की। एमफी यानी कि एसोसिएशन ऑफ म्यूचुअल फंड्स इन इंडिया की, एक नॉन प्रॉफिट इंडस्ट्री बॉडी जो देश भर के एसेट मैनेजमेंट कंपनीज को रिप्रेजेंट करती है और जिसने म्यूचुअल फंड को एक हाउसहोल्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट चॉइस बनाने बनाने में एक बहुत ही अहम भूमिका निभाई है। आज हमारे साथ है मिस्टर वेंकट एम चलसानी, चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव एमफी एसोसिएशन ऑफ म्यूचुअल फंड्स इन इंडिया। वेरी गुड आफ्टरनून सर एंड थैंक यू सो मच फॉर टेकिंग आवर टाइम।
Good afternoon, Geetu. Thank you very much for making me a part of this program. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
Sir, पहले तो I'll begin by congratulating the AMFI and the team of AMFI for completing spectacular 30 years journey in shaping India's mutual fund industry.
बहुत धन्यवाद, Geetu. I mean, this is with all the support of all of you, be it the media, be it the regulator, the investors, the distributors, the AMCs, all together are responsible for wherever we are today. I mean, the success of this mutual fund industry is dedicated to all the people because each one of us has contributed for the growth of this industry, and we are very, very thankful and proud to be a part of this industry.
जी, चलिए अब बात करते हैं म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री के जर्नी की। अगर हम देखें तो 1995 में एसेट अंडर मैनेजमेंट वाज जस्ट 47,000 करोड़, व्हिच हैज नाउ जंप टू 71 ट्रिलियन, यानी कि 71 लाख करोड़ का एयूएम जो है उसकी हम अब बात करते हैं। वहीं अगर फोलियोज की बात करें तो बहुत ही कम फोलियोज 1995 में हमको देखने को मिल रहे थे और फोलियो का अब जो नंबर है वो 24 crore plus is total, but retail ka participation 19 crore plus. I mean, it's huge. So tell us about the mutual fund evolution over all these years. और एमफी का रोल जो है वो बहुत अहम रहा है in shaping the mutual fund ecosystem. आप यहाँ से म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री को कहाँ देखें?
एक तो अपन इवोल्यूशन का बात बताया आपने। यूटीआई जो है एक्चुअल फर्स्ट म्यूचुअल फंड जो was established हुआ था, that was in way back in 1965. So as we speak now, 1964, as we speak now, we are 61-year-old industry. And that's how the industry has evolved from a single mutual fund product provider to multiple AMCs which are providing multiple schemes in various areas. That's how the evolution has taken place. 1994 का जो आपने बता रहा था उस समय, that was a time when the mutual fund industry has been opened up so that the other players also can start entering into the space. That is where the institutional investors, institutional players like banks, and there are foreign players who have entered into this industry to ensure that the mutual fund as a product is made available to the length and breadth of the people of the country. And since these institutions have started their own AMCs, there was a felt need that for a trade body to be created who can be who can represent the requirements of the industry to the regulators, the most important regulator being SEBI, and of course to the other regulators like Reserve Bank of India, the IRDA, PFRDA, wherever it is required, and also to the government of India. One objective was that. Second objective was to ensure that we establish ethical practices and standardize the procedures to ensure that the entire processes are smooth. The third important thing that we also look at is because it is investors' money that is being invested, because with so much of trust they are investing in the AMCs, there is a need felt that this money is invested properly, and therefore the most important thing is transparency. जैसा आपको हर चीज में जो जो हम लोग करते आपका पैसा से, वो पैसा कहाँ जा रहा है, कैसे इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रहा है, क्या आपका पैसा का नेट एसेट वैल्यू आज का तारीख में कितना है, So the transparency is something that again we are looking to. The other important piece, while I talked about the AMCs, while we talked about the investors' transparency, but there is a need for somebody to market these particular products. Because the industry is new and therefore there is a need for the people to distribute these products, and the class has been created what we call as distributors. These distributors, AMFI is a regulator for these distributors. They give the registration number to these distributors and the code of conduct, how they are required to place to ensure that they do not do mis-selling, they ensure that they do the right products, they ensure that they do not oversell it because they're getting more commission. So to have those controls in place, there is something what we call as a code of conduct that has been introduced. So AMFI is doing multiple roles, taking all these things into consideration. The last but not the least is the investor awareness and education program, which you rightly talked about, the mutual fund सही है campaign. क्योंकि ये niche product है, सब जन समझते नहीं है क्या नहीं है, उसलिए लोगों को जानकारी के लिए इसमें प्रोडक्ट क्या फायदा क्या है, उसमें करते क्या है और उसका अंदर क्या रिस्क है, ये सब समझाने के लिए there is a campaign what we call as investor awareness and education program, which was also being done by the AMFI. So those are the overall broad objectives, Ms. Gitu, and we can take it forward from here.
वेंकट सर, आपने कहा कि बिल्डिंग ट्रस्ट ये बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि लोगों के पैसे की बात है, जहाँ पैसे की बात आती है वहाँ ट्रस्ट नहीं हो तो पैसा कहीं कोई लगा नहीं सकता. बट ये जो आपने खूबी से काम किया है एज योर कैंपेन गोज म्यूचुअल फंड सही है, लोगों के परसेप्शन में बदलाव कैसे आया है? मुझे तो ये लगता है कि कोविड के बाद का समय म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री के लिए ज्यादा अच्छा रहा है vis-a-vis द पीरियड दैट वी सॉ बिफोर 2020. हालांकि वहां पे भी ग्रोथ अच्छी देखने को मिली थी, लेकिन यहाँ पे लोगों का रुझान, इंटरेस्ट जो है वो इन्वेस्टमेंट, म्यूचुअल फंड्स एज इन्वेस्टमेंट इंस्ट्रूमेंट में ज्यादा गया है. So how is the perception of the people who used to look at mutual funds say 10 years back and now has changed?
Yeah, absolutely right. When this particular product was introduced, as I said, it was a niche product understood by only a few people. And the SEBI has said that the investor awareness education has to be done by all the AMCs. And one of the points that they brought out as a regulator was very, very a game changer for the entire industry is that they said you set aside 2 basis points. 2 basis points. So let's say 100 rupees is what I'm taking as my AUM. 2 naya paisa should be set aside for the purpose of investor awareness and education program. So जैसा वो चालू किया था तो AMCs अपना अपन they started doing the investor awareness programs in their own way. 2017 में सेबी ने कहा उस 2 basis points में 1 basis point आप एम्फी के पास पूल करके पूरा कैंपेन करिएगा. Now, once this has been done, what we have realized is, there is a need for us to communicate about the products, about the schemes to the individuals. When I communicate the schemes to the individuals, I need to tell them about the risks as well. And we have devised, prepared the scripts, prepared the program, prepared all the communication that is required to be sent in such a way that people will be in a position to understand. If we have done it in multiple languages, at the same time, the script has been properly prepared. But for it to be effectively communicated to the people, we said that there is a need for us to have some celebrities who will be in a position to communicate. So we have taken a product, we have dissected and said that these are the characteristics of the product, these are the risks that are there, this is how we want to communicate to the people. At the same time, for making it more effective, we have taken the celebrities so that they can communicate to the product. That is how it has the entire program that Mutual Fund Sahi Hai has been devised, and we could reach out to the nook and corner. Just to give you a small example, when there is a volatility, there is a people get panicky. There is
जी,
we while we do explain to the people that this is a long-term play, there is a need for us to stay invested for a long term because you and I and all of us trust in the growth story of our country. We are confident that our country is going to grow, and there is the benefits of this growth story has to be spread across to everyone. But
जी,
temporary volatilities are always there in the market, and people get panicky. जब ऐसी panicky था, when there was a temporary volatility, you would have seen the way in which we came out with an advertisement of Mr. Rohit Sharma, where he talks
जी,
about the volatility ऊपर नीचे जा सकता है left, but अपना
जी,
मंजिल पहुंचेंगे, डटे रहो. So these are certain things that we have tried to do it so that there is an effective communication of what we wanted to communicate. That is one. Second, in addition to the online, we also do offline. Means we go to the colleges, we go to the cities, we through the various one the AMCs do it, and we also conduct investor awareness and education programs offline and explain to them what financial goals are, how do we achieve them, how effectively this can be utilized in order to ensure that you become financially independent. The third thing that we also did is, if you look at, come to look, have a view our mutual fund Sahi Hai website, which we tell everywhere when we communicate that this is a website that can be restored. We get videos, explanation of these particular products very clearly in a simple, lucid manner
okay,
in all regional languages that explanation will be done. So it's a multiple approach that is being taken to ensure that this is communicated properly to the last investor and explain the risks that are involved in these investments.
सर एमपी क्योंकि पेनिट्रेशन की अगर हम बात करें तो टीयर 2 टीयर 3 सिटीज में अभी भी लोग उतना म्यूचुअल फंड्स के जरिए इन्वेस्ट नहीं करते हैं। उन तक पहुंचने का आपका क्या प्लान्स है? आप उन तक कैसे पहुंचेंगे? क्या टेक्नोलॉजी ने जिस जो जो म्यूचुअल फंड का इकोसिस्टम है उसके डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नेटवर्क को चेंज किया है? उसका क्या लाभ या उसका क्या हानि आप देखते हैं?
There are multiple approaches that we are doing in order to reach out. आप बिल्कुल सही कहा, penetration in the top 30 cities is reasonably okay. Let me also tell you that it is not to our satisfaction
ओके,
because there is so much we can do even in the top 30 cities. While in the beyond 30 cities that you're talking about, the penetration is when compared to the top 30 cities is lower.
करेक्ट,
And therefore, we are using multiple approaches. One,
ओके,
the digital approach that you're talking about, where we are using digital media. But again, there is a felt need that while the digital reach is good, there is a felt need that we need to have more distributors. They are the ones who are going to communicate. They are the ones who will be in a position to reach out to those investors in the B30 cities and will be in a position to bring those investors into our box. So therefore, we are increasing the number of distributors by state adoption. You would have seen in while we have adopted certain states and we are trying to build a distributor cadre in each of the districts where at least we are looking at a minimum of 20 distributors in each of the district so that the number of distributors touch points go up. So digitally we are trying to do it by means of distributors, increasing the number of distributor force. We are trying to do it tying up with Department of Post and others where the postman, they are the people who are spread length and breadth of the country. There are almost around 250,000 postmen. We're trying to reach out to them. And fourth important thing is simplification of the product. You would have seen SIP is one of the important
यस,
dharia, the media through which people are investing into the mutual fund area. And that has become a greatest success where
यस,
people on every month invest because they have the target to achieve the goals. And we have seen that 27,500 crores is a monthly investment that is coming in SIP.
जी.
This SIP amount has been brought down to 250 rupees so that the the investments can be accessible. The beauty of this mutual fund, as you all know, is a diversification. With 250 rupees, if I'm putting in a large cap or a mid cap, I'm diversifying even this 250 rupees. So we are enabling this to the small investors to invest as well. So both digitally, by means of distributors, by reducing the amount of investment that we can do, we are trying to see reach out beyond 30. And we're also looking at incentivizing also. This is something like, as I said, in case of Choti SIP, which is 250 rupees, the distributors, they get an additional incentive if this Choti SIP continues for more than 2 years. So there are multiple areas where we are working on it in order to ensure that the penetration in the B30 cities increases.
Now, what is being done to make investors understand that mutual fund तभी सही है जब long term में आप पैसा रखेंगे. Mutual fund 6 महीने या 1 साल का रिटर्न्स के लिए नहीं होता. बिकॉज क्योंकि हमने पिछले 4 साल में देखा कि मार्केट्स ने काफी अच्छा परफॉर्म किया, तो म्यूचुअल फंड ने बहुत ही अच्छे रिटर्न्स दिए. 60%, 70%, इवन 90% सम ऑफ द फंड्स आर गिवन रिटर्न्स. पर वो ऐसा रिपीटेशन जरूरी नहीं है कि हो भी सकता है, लेकिन हो भी नहीं सकता. एंड देयर आर इयर्स व्हेन म्यूचुअल फंड्स आर गिवन नेगेटिव रिटर्न्स आल्सो, एंड दैट इज द शेड ऑफ द मार्केट. उसमें आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. पर ये समझाना लोगों को, इसे कैसे समझाते हैं आप कि आप लॉन्ग टर्म में ही इन्वेस्टेड रहेंगे तो ही आपको फायदा?
ये तो मैं एक आपको वो समझाना थ्रू योर मीडिया, वी वुड लाइक टू कम्युनिकेट टू एवरीवन that the goals are different for different people. Appetites of the individuals are different. Each individual will have a different appetite. Each individual will have a different goals. There are people who have a short-term goal that I would like to invest only for 6 months for the purpose of putting my money where I have a plan to invest in somewhere else. So I have short-term I have investments. So I have short-term money. There are people who are looking to buy a car. There are people who are looking to buy a house. There are people who are looking to get married. There are people who are looking to have their children education. There are people who are planning for their retirement. There are different plans for different people, different goals for different people. When I have a different goals, point number one. Point number two, I have my appetite is also different. There are people who have got a risk appetite. They are young at age. They have 40 years to go. They know that I have the capability of taking risk. There are people who are at old age. They are at the retirement. Their income has stopped. They have to depend on the income that is being generated from the savings that they have made. With people who are retired and the retirement income. So their appetite will be low and therefore their plans are totally different. There are people who are in between. They are a moderate appetite. So each one, depending upon what they have, they need to invest. That is how it has to be. Not necessarily that everyone should invest for a long tenure.
Okay.
Depends on my objective. Once I define my objective, then I'll have to look at which product. If I'm putting for a short term, then I'm also, because in short term, you are absolutely right. There is going to be volatility in the market. For all you know, in the short term, I would have invested when the markets were high. And unfortunately, when I'm redeeming it, the investments can go down. There is a possibility. Therefore, it is, and in the short term, if you're looking at, there is a possibility that you need to look at a fixed income rather than looking into an equity schemes. So you need to define your goals. You need to look at what your appetite is. Basis that, the investments will have to be made. But you are right, when it coming to the equities, the long-term investments will always, you and I and the entire country, all of us, are positive about the growth of the country. When we are positive about the growth of the country, not only we, even IMF, World Bank, everyone says that India is going to grow at 6.2%. If India is going to grow at 6.2%, how will that grow? It grows only when the companies grow. When the companies grow, means the equity will automatically will go up. And that is where the returns are going to come. And if I'm a strong believer of my growth story of my country, that is where the investments are done. Therefore, long-term investments into equity would normally generate better returns. And,
ये सवाल मैंने
this is what, as I said, when we are talking about the communication, be it in the form of online or offline, we try and explain to the people that don't believe that one size fits all. ये नहीं है कि आपको इक्विटीज में इन्वेस्ट करो तो आपको अच्छा
जी
रेट, आपका गोल्स के हिसाब से, आपका एपिटाइट के हिसाब से आपको इन्वेस्ट करना है, तभी दैट इज व्हाट Gitu is financial education. And that's what our attempt is to see to it that people become more and more financially literate. Because
जी
just one small data point before I give back to you is that if you look at our literacy, the Indian literacy is more, we take pride of saying it's more than 80%. But the financial literacy का बात करते हैं अपन, तो वो 27% ही है अपना फाइनेंशियल लिटरेसी.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
क्योंकि आज अपना विकसित भारत या 2047 में डेवलप्ड कंट्री यदि करना है, everyone should become financially independent, financially empowered. And that can happen only if my financial literacy, which is at 27%, goes to at least 70 to 80%. And even more than that also.
सर ये सवाल मैंने आपसे इसलिए पूछा क्योंकि बहुत सारी खबरें या न्यूज आती है मिस सेलिंग की, क्योंकि मिस सेल किया जाता है इन्वेस्टर को कि आप ये खरीदिए शॉर्ट टर्म में आपको इतना मुनाफा होगा, आप ये स्कीम खरीदिए वो स्कीम करिए. तभी मैंने कहा कि लॉन्ग टर्म इज समथिंग दैट वन शुड रियली कुड एम्फसाइज ऑन. सर ये बताइए, आपने विकसित भारत की बात की. सो 2047 India might get into a developed nation status, and we are working towards that, or $7 trillion economy by 2030. Hiccups तो हर जगह होते हैं, उसको भी सुलझा लेंगे हम आने वाले समय में. But how do you see mutual fund industry contributing to Viksit Bharat?
See, there are two things that happens, Gitu. One is from the investor perspective. Second is how this industry is contributing for the capital formation of the country. There are two ways we are doing it. One, the investors. I mean, we're trying to crack today. As we speak now, we have around 5.4 crore investors, and we have almost around 74.4 lakh crores is my total assets under management as we speak now. Last month, when we published our data, it was 74.74 lakh crores. But if I look at, and I take pride by one data point that you also mentioned, in 2014, it was around 10 lakh crores. 10 lakh crores से almost 75 lakh crore अपन अभी पहुंच रहे. If you on a standalone basis, it looks extremely good. But when I look at comparing to the developed world, where you just said India, we are all looking to be a developed country. In a developed world, the assets under management would be more than 100% of the GDP. Globally, it is around 65% average, global average. But in developed world, we find that is more than 100%. So that is something, and the number of investors as we speak now, we have 5.4 crores. We have grown. There was a phenomenal growth again from 1 crore to 5.54 crores is a decent phenomenal growth. But if you look at the number of people who are investing, number of people who are using digital channels, number of people who are using digital media for even Swiggy, purchase of their food items or even their household items, number of people who are using digital media to watch movies, they are phenomenal. And and they are the ones, it will be easier for us to reach out to them. So we want to convert all these people, bring them into the financial investments. Another simple data point I would like to mention to you here is you would have seen Reserve Bank of India data that has come, where it talks about 66% of the 66% of the household savings goes into non-financial assets. 34% of the household saving goes into financial assets. For us, there is a need. When these financial assets, there is bank, there are insurance, pension, then you look at mutual funds, stocks, and cash holding as well. These are the various components in it.
Right.
First objective is to see to it that our financial savings goes up. That 34% increases into, because the more you convert it to financial saving, the more you're investing into the country's assets. And the moment you invest in the country's assets, the growth spirals and then the growth happens. Therefore, our objective, as we move towards Vikshit Bharat, we being the media through which the capital can be raised by the corporates, be it in the form of equity and debt. We want to increase the number of investors. Short term, maybe 5.4 crores to 10 crores, but over a period of time, by the time we move towards 2047, maybe we would like to look at the way in which every person who's got a bank account will also be a mutual fund investor. Ghar ghar mein, we would like to have every ghar to have one mutual fund investor. And the assets will also be at least, if not 130, 140% of the GDP, at least up to the 100% of the GDP. Simultaneously, this will help in the capital market growth. That's my objective is in a two-way. Increase the investors' income, at the same time, improve the growth of the Indian economy.
So we talked about the SIP. SIP has become a default saving habit for young Indians. जो भी जिसे हम जनरेशन Z बोलते हैं, जनरेशन Z, उनको ध्यान में रखते हुए व्हाट इज एमफी प्लानिंग फॉर देम, बिकॉज ये एक ऐसी जनरेशन है जिसके सेविंग हैबिट्स अभी उतने अच्छे नहीं है, पर हाँ एसआईपी में थोड़ा बहुत ध्यान है, इंटरेस्ट है, स्टॉक मार्केट को देखते हैं जहाँ पे वेल्थ क्रिएशन के आइडियाज उन्हें मिलते हैं. सो एनीथिंग स्पेसिफिक दैट यू वुड वांट टू डू in times to come for the generation Z?
Well, for the Gen Z, what we are trying to tell them is, while that is where we are trying to reach out to the colleges and universities, there is a multi-pronged approach that we're doing. One, there is one new program that we have launched, what we call as a Tarun Yojana. Okay. Tarun Yojana is something that you would have seen on 22nd of February, we launched it. But because of the summer vacations, we could not take it forward. Now we have started doing it. This is where we are trying to catch the students at their young age. Students obviously are at young age, so we are trying to catch the people at their young age. At the 9th and 10th standard, we are trying to impart a bit of a financial literacy to them, ensure that they clear a bit of exam, and whoever successful, we will be contributing SIPs to them so that they will understand the power of SIP, power of compounding, know what net asset value is, how it works. So we're trying to catch the people at young. Not only Gen Z, one level below, younger to them also, we're trying to catch them. Second, we are doing the state adoption. In the state adoption, we are again reaching out to the colleges and universities where people are at the final year of the student class of their studies. There, we are trying to conduct a two-tier. One, make them financially literate. Second level, we are also asking them to clear their NISM exam. So, again, here also we're trying to reach out these people so that they understand the benefits of small investments in a disciplined, continuous, long term.
That is a brilliant idea, sir. क्योंकि हमारी एजुकेशन सिस्टम में ऐसा कुछ था नहीं जैसे आप कर रहे हैं. That is really going to help kids to understand what saving instruments are, वो कैसे पैसा बचा के अपनी wealth create कर सकते हैं. एक लास्ट सवाल पूछ लेती हूँ, एमपी का विजन क्या है for next decade? हमने विकसित भारत की बात की, लेकिन अगर हम अगले 10 साल में देखें, so what is the vision that you have set for? What is the kind of AUM that you are targeting?
While I am not going to set my AUM, मेरा effort ये है कि हमारा इन्वेस्टर्स जो अभी 5.5 करोड़ करीब है, उसको 3 गुना हो जाए. जो इन्वेस्टमेंट एवरेज अभी 250 रुपया है वो 5000 हो जाए, 2500 है वो 5000 हो जाए, सो ऑटोमेटिकली AUM तो बढ़ेगा ही बढ़ेगा मेरा.
Correct.
But our objective is to see to it that there more number of investors come, more average holding increases, and with the help of increased number of distributors. जो अभी 2.5 लाख है करीबन, वो 5 लाख डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स हो जाए, और जो अब मेरा AUM जो है, नॉट ये मेरा इन्वेस्टर्स जो है 3 से 4 गुना बढ़ जाए. सो ये सब करने से ऑटोमेटिकली मेरा एसेट्स अंडर मैनेजमेंट पोर्टफोलियो तो बढ़ता है.
बिल्कुल सही कहा आपने, क्योंकि आपने इंडिकेशन दे दी 4 गुना वो हो जाएगा तो AUM भी 4 गुना से ज्यादा ही होगा. थैंक यू वेंकट सर फॉर योर टाइम. इट वाज प्लेजर स्पीकिंग विद यू सर.
Same here. Thank you very much, Gitu. It was wonderful interacting with you. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू सर.